What do you think you're doing?
You don't think it's infected, do you?
That's it,
Come on
troops.
now, I
Train
pulled
up
her
while
off
you
you
can.
before she could do any
Next
real
orcish
damage.
strat
Hey,
could land
who's
at
that then? Come on, stand where my good eye can see you.
Easy, Tull. That's the source hunter you're talking to.
She may have the look of a woman if you squint hard enough, but she's no more than a wild animal. We got reports of a strange-looking outsider skulking through the town with her bow drawn. I found her crouched behind a tree, taking aim at a fat old rat trotting along the city walls. I tapped her on the shoulder to see what was what, and the beast startled like a wild cat and lunged right at me.
Bit Tullia right in the face, she did. It wasn't pretty, and now it's got a chunk ripped off it to boot.
Enjoy it while you can, Ver. There's not another legionnaire in the cohort that'll have you if I go rabid.
I'd say you ought to take her off our hands if you had the space. Though we couldn't guarantee she'd do more than piddle on the floor and maul your furniture.
Ice blue eyes narrow beneath a heavy brow streaked with sweat and dust. Her hands tense into claws, held at the ready.
Her brow knits together, but something in her pose relaxes. She clears her throat.
I am Bear Daughter. I have not come here to find trouble with the Screech woman. She only startled me. And you are a source hunter. I have heard many tales of your order. Your history is long and honorable. This woman here, the one who now plots her revenge, she crept behind me while I was hunting, and I only defended myself. I would not hurt an innocent Screech woman on purpose. But soon their swords were upon me, and they forced me into this cage meant for dogs. Mother would rip the fur from her chest if she could see how they keep me.
Careful, Source Hunter. If I keep my eyes off this cage, the beast's liable to risk an escape. Careful, Source Hunter. You don't think careful, Source Hunter. If I keep my eyes off this cage, the beast's liable.
Attention! About face!
Bear Daughter remains silent, but stands at her full height.
That was sloppier than Sicilian stew. Again!
You don't think it's infected, do you?
Come on now, I pulled her off you before she could do any real damage.
Greetings! These stalls are for our Legion troops. Rivellon's finest work up mighty fine appetite serving the seven.
Put heat!
Perhaps wrestling an earth elemental will inject some vim into your routine. Fantastic.
You there! You don't look like someone who's ever been serenaded by a severed head. Step right up!
Ah!
What's this? I found something.
But if one were to reduce the quantity of skull dust by a percentage of 2, perhaps the stability could be increased by as much as 3-fold.
Oh, a source hunter. Imagine that. Quite a bit more petite than the last of your kind I encountered, aren't you? Yes, by nearly 20 centimeters of tibia, as my memory serves. But, no matter. Even if it couldn't spare its heartiest specimen, I'm sure the Order sent the individual with the next highest probability of success. Huh? Me? Why, I'm more than a little surprised you haven't heard of me. Perhaps I can jog your memory. It was I who cured the Duchess of Arata of her unslakable thirst, a simple pinch of Atropa belladonna in her morning tea. I who discovered that aging itself can be halted by a single application of Cicuta de Glacie on the tongue. Not to mention that it's been my guidance that has permitted my apprentice Evelyn to make quite a name for herself around Sicile of late. Well, she certainly possesses a critical eye and an exacting manner when it comes to making difficult medical decisions. I expect she'll be a very successful healer in her own right when the time comes. She is learning from the best, after all.
Excuse me? This is a private sick room. Who in the name of the Sevens you think you are barging in here? Out, I say, right this instant. I'm sorry. It's this task. I'm just... Who am I to meddle with life and death this way? I'm an apprentice of the healing arts. Healing! But this decision feels like precisely the opposite. I have but one healing stone, you see, and 2 direly wounded men who need it. I've been racking my brain trying to decide on the best method to settle this grave situation, but perhaps it's better off in the hands of an esteemed source hunter. Surely you are more accustomed to weighing life and death than I. What would you like to know? One of the brave few willing to traverse the trade routes plagued by the undead. A young man, but excellent in matters of business, before he fell victim to an orcish club in the north, that is. Thankfully for him, quite the venerable staple of Sicile, Stephen, and recently blessed with his 3rd grandchild. He was leading a crew of builders when a stray beam struck him in the temple, and only a few days shy of his last day of work before retirement, no less. Nearly everyone in Sicile is familiar with grinning Stephen, and, as you can imagine, he's quite dear to his family. Yes, a curious relic indeed. I got it from a kindly abbot, Loic by name, in the northern town of Silver Glen. He is of a certain faith, the Immaculates, they call themselves, that espouses the belief that certain stones can heal wounded flesh. I myself was nothing if not skeptical of his claims, but something happened as he handed me the stone. A small cut on my finger instantly healed, leaving no trace of the wound. Needless to say, I was astounded. But it's strange. The stone is only good for a single use at a time before it reverts to a useless, inert state. It takes time to regain its magical property. You are? I thank you a million times for your help. Who have you decided should receive the healing stone?
I so long for this world. What's taking Tenderfoot so long?
Boris's life has just begun. We can't cut it short now. He should receive the stone.
Yes. Boris deserves to experience all the pleasures of life that Stephen has already enjoyed.
Boris it is? Yes. I'll deliver the stone. I'm glad we'll get to save one man. My heart breaks for the other.
Can't say I didn't want to live. Wanted it with every fibre of my heart. Not just for my own sake, but for my family. Oh, my Matilda. What'll my sweet Matilda do? Enjoy what remains of your life, will you? Never know when it'll be snatched out from under you.
What? What happened? Is this a dream?
I don't think so. That stone. Somehow it sent us flying into the stars.
Terrible, terrible, terrible! It will consume us all. By the quill that lasts a billion words, what's this? Two Rivalonians here? At the end of space and time? How very, very, very curious. Your guess is as good as mine, my newfound comrade. Here I stood upon this tiny vestige of space and time, and there you appeared. Quite good timing, by the by, because the ground here has been fast shrinking beneath my feet. Oh, but I suppose I should make a proper introduction. Zigzags the historian at your service. It is my job to record all that was and is and hopefully all that is to be. What am I doing here? Attempting to avert disaster, of course. Attempting to prevent all that is from disappearing. Tell me, friend, when I mentioned that this place is the end of time, did your heart quicken and your stomach drop? If not, they should have. Time ought to have no end at all. Indeed, I can think of no worse nightmare for a chronicler such as myself. But something totally, utterly terrible has happened. Show, don't tell, I always say. So go, peer through yonder looking lens and feast your soon-to-be terrified eyes on the darkness that is approaching. You looked. You saw. Terrifying, isn't... What's this? The portal! It's quite sprung to life, just like the long, dormant flames that decorate this observatory. After all my waiting and hoping, could it be? You, dear stranger, you must be the key. Something about your presence here is causing the end of time to grow. The true end itself to move further away. Those torches, alight! This portal active once more. It cannot be coincidence. Goodness me, how right you are. There's so much to take in, I'd nearly forgotten. And what you saw has been haunting my mind since I first discovered it. It is the void itself. The dragon that is devouring creation. When I speak of the end of time, this is exactly what I mean. I can't say for sure where it came from, how or why, but I do know this. It's shrinking our future by the second. And if we don't stop it, it will devour the past and present as well. Though I cannot say for certain. If it is what I believe, then our prayers might well be answered. In fact, every last question that ever plagued your noggin might well be answered. For I believe what lies beyond this portal is nothing other than... But why spoil the mystery? As soon as we leap through, we'll find out for certain. It's not that I believe, it's that I have seen. Long have I been waiting here, hoping that one day this very portal would ignite. Then, no longer than a few mere moments after you arrive, zap it goes. The chronicler of time knows a pattern when he sees one. After you, after you. Oh, what wonders we may find on the other side.